Well, I think, it's very much depending of your sort of own taste in a way. If you like the sort of beautiful, elegant, smooth tennis, you have to go for Roger Federer. Now, obviously, with Novak, being at 21 and Rafa being a 22 Grand Slam, if we speak numbers only, then of course you have two players on top of him. But I think it's very much a debate because it depends on the style of play you like. And that said, I absolutely love to see Novak plays and win. Absolutely love to see Rafa winning again at Roland Garros this year. I think it was one of the most incredible sports achievements that you can possibly witness. But in terms of game style and the way he has revolutionized tennis, I think Roger was the first one. And then they push each other to new heights. And I think that was really special to see.
When you say that he revolutionized sporting greats, in your opinion?
Oh, very much in there. Absolutely. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Tiger Woods, Tom Brady. They're people that transcend from their sports. I mean, they're icons. You go in the streets, you say Roger Federer. I'm in Dubai right now, you say Roger Federer, everyone will know who he is. And the same from LeBron and Michael Jordan and all. But when you transcend from outside of your sport and you become an icon and everyone knows who you are, that's when you know you have been one of the greatest of all time across every sport. Same for Serena, same, you can put Novak and Rafa in there as well, but it's just that amount of fame and that amount of inspiring generation. Very much absolutely in there.
Definitely. And when we think of
take that out of the equation for the moment, his legacy in the sport.
Gosh, Roger's. He's obviously one of the greatest to play the game. And then on top of that, what he's done off the court, what he's done for the sport. I think he's changed the culture and on tour. A phenomenal ambassador for the sport of tennis and a great example for from what I've seen in being a father. It's not easy to have. I think he's actually two sets of twins. I think is a bigger accomplishment than all his Grand Slam titles put together. So that's just great to see. And I think that one thing that stands out for me is that when Roger Federer goes in the locker room, it doesn't matter whether you're Novak Djokovic or Rafael Nadal, or if you're the 200 ranked doubles player, on tour, and you happen to be in the locker room. Roger knows who you are, and he'll reference you by name, which I think is something pretty incredible. And he knows so many stats about players, and just so well respected. And I think it's very commendable for him to have won the sportsmanship award on tour for so many years and yet still be number one, because that's not easy to do. Normally it's like you're very competitive, you're out there, you're trying to beat everybody as bad as you possibly can, but winning the sportsmanship award tells you the kind of player that he is, and how well respected he is off the court, after he beats you on the court.
Definitely. And it did seem up until a couple of years.
What will his legacy be when he does finally?
Yeah, it's just one of the all-time greats. That's for sure. And the way that he, the way that he played, his style, I think the way that he behaved and the way that he conducted himself, I think he's one of the great ambassadors in all of sports. So I'd love to see him back at Wimbledon one last time. Obviously, he's had a difficult time with the knee surgeries, and obviously the last time that he played here on centre court was a pretty tough loss. So it'd be great to see him back at Wimbledon one more time.
Someone who did well at Wimbledon this year.
But what is his impact, not just on his career, but just the wider world now? Because he's a name that has transcended the sport, really.
Yeah, Roger's been my favourite player growing up, and still is basically. Every time I see him play, it just feels like a bit of an honour, really, because he's so good at what he does, and I would love to see him back out on court. I know he's working really hard at the moment to come back for Laver Cup, hopefully playing not only some exhibitions this year, but yeah, I would just love to see him have one last go at it, really, because it feels like you don't want him to end on an injury, really, do you?
No, not at all. the man who was.
What has Federer brought to the tennis world that the others haven't, that Novak hasn't, that Nadal hasn't? What has he brought?
Well, I think all of those the players you just mentioned have brought a lot of stuff, but Roger is, I mean, it's not just the class, but it's just the way he plays the game is. When I commentate, and particularly when Federer was at his peak and was winning sometimes matches very easily at Wimbledon and was dominating, particularly on grass, and people would say, yeah, but don't you find it a bit boring to commentate when he's winning so easy? And I would always say no, because I know that in every match he plays, he's always going to hit 3, 4, 5, could be more shots that no one else could, that almost defy logic on a tennis court, that no one else could even have the imagination to try, let alone to complete it. So for me, he brings out just a style of tennis that I don't know if anybody's ever had, the style that he's had on the court. And obviously the way he conducts himself off the court is pretty damn good too. But for me, he's majestic. To watch him play was just timing of the ball and the things he did and the class, the flair that he showed out there. I mean, to me, that's the way I love to watch tennis played, where someone just goes out there and the racket is just a magic wand, and they're just a symphony. They can just do whatever they want to caress the thing, and it just he's just one of, you know, he's a one-off, and I love watching him play. And it will be, you know, I hope he continues to play more, and I hope he continues to play senior tennis, and I hope he plays tennis in his 70s, because he'll always be a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it's kind of poetic when he gets on a tennis court.
Yeah, exactly.
Just 2 more questions then. So Wimbledon.
GOAT status is no doubt ingrained in the sport, but for you, Pam, what's his legacy in the sport?
I'm sorry, Roger's legacy?
Roger, yeah.
Oh my goodness, Roger's legacy. I mean, to me, he's somebody who, wherever he played, conducted himself beautifully. I mean, just as Rafa has. Sure, a couple times he got irritated here and there. To me, he's been like the perfect role model for pro tennis players. The way you handle the media obligations, the way you handle sponsor obligations, family obligations. He's been a role model to many. Much respected, I think, the way he's been able to keep his body healthy and his mind sharp and motivated. And I think his love of the sport really comes through. Otherwise, why would he be trying to make a recovery and come back one more time as he's into his early 40s when he's got 4 kids? Although having 4 kids, sometimes you need the break. So you might want to head out on the tour just to, you know, get a break from parenting.
Last question for me, Pam. Just a little bit.
How would you kind of assess what he's given to the sport?
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, let's hope that Roger Federer will keep going. And I think he can. He just needs more matches and probably needs to go. You know, make sure that he's able to last. But you know, your body starts saying no at some stage, and it's been saying that for a couple of years now for him. He has been the most consistent player that I think we've ever seen. He may not end up with as many Grand Slams, but that his consistency is just outrageous. All the other players have lost early in Grand Slams, the Djokovic's, the Murray's, you know, the Nadals have lost early in Grand Slams. Roger just doesn't do it. He just consistently, and I think of all the titles that he's won, I think for me his most impressive record is how many semi-finals or quarterfinals in Grand Slams in a row that he got to. I mean, something like 40 or something ridiculous. 10 years or 11 years, he never failed at any Grand Slams, and that is just absolutely mind-blowing. Obviously, he raised the bar, and as far as standard of tennis is gone, and the other players really had to catch up. And Novak's admitted, he said, without Roger there leading the way, I wouldn't have been. I'm not as good a player as I could have been. You know, so he's, you know, that's the gold standard is Roger Federer over his career. I'm not sure if anybody will be as consistent as him in tennis history. It's just phenomenal the way he plays, and we all, of course, we enjoy his style and the style that he hits the ball, his movement, and and he's a class act off the court as well.
Okay, final two questions.
Your way to become a star in tennis like you are now?
Maybe playing wise, he was the biggest inspiration, obviously because of the one-handed backhand, because he's the only one of those three who has a one-handed backhand. So I tried to copy his style a little bit, of course. And then when I started to watch tennis, maybe with 7-8 years old, he was becoming the number one. It was around that time, so he was the first one I witnessed, and so he was from the beginning a great inspiration. And then I had this first practice with him. I was so nervous, and I think everybody can see that in the interview I gave after. And then big inspiration as well. The first time I played against him a match, I mean, he killed me. It was not nice, but the way and the journey was great with him. And then first time beating him, and then beating him also in very important matches like Indian Wells was great. But as well, spending time with him and then talking to him, to such a legend, not only on court but also off court, it gave me many great experience. Also one time I had the honor to won a clay preparation with him in Switzerland. So these are great memories in my career as well, and they're still helping me to get a better player and also a better person on court.
Okay, Dominic, thanks a lot for the interview. And
Roger is, as we all know, not probably, he's the greatest player of all times. He is. I don't think anyone has ever played tennis as well as he played, even though he lost to some players, and sometimes many times in a row. Rafa, for example, nobody plays tennis like Roger, and I don't think I will see before I die anyone play tennis like him. Of course, Roger is the same level, even though it's different sports, as Michael Jordan, Phelps, Tiger Woods, all those legends. He's a legend of tennis, and is the biggest legend of tennis for me. And plus, it's not.
Thank you. It's been a long time, man.
Roger, this is going to be the weekend.